Hey guys, in this video I'm gonna show you how to dual boot Windows 10 and Arch Linux, but installing the Arch Linux using the Archinstall built-in installation or guided installer. First things first is, of course, we go to the website. Let me just pull out here. Go to the Arch Linux and click on the download to download the ISO. You can download using a torrent, any of your favorite torrent, which is recommended here. You can also go to, if you scroll it down, you download to the country or the mirror which is closer to you. So after that one, so I'm not gonna download it now because I have already downloaded it into my main host operating system. So let me just start here, pull out my Windows and make it full screen. Now I would not recommend doing this for long term because I don't have any experience with using the Arch Linux, which is installed using the built-in Archinstall. And before you do anything, you need to back up your system. This is the very important one. Backup. You need to back up. Okay, first things first is we need to make a space for the Arch. Now I just installed this Windows 10 to just show it to you. We need to shrink the C drive. If you have another drive, this is even better, because then you install only on the separate drive. But if you have only one hard drive and you want to install on the bare metal, then you need to make a space for the Arch Linux. To shrink the C drive, we can go to disk management. You can type using the search, type disk and click the create and format hard disk, or on the file explorer you can go to manage and then disk management here. So either way is fine. Okay, so now I'm just gonna shrink this one. Once you are on your disk management page, you shrink your C drive. Do not shrink or do not touch any of this, otherwise your system or your Windows 10 will not boot it anymore. And I'm gonna shrink this to whatever size you want, but you know, Windows, they use a huge file, and for this guide or for this video I'm gonna just shrink up to 25,000 megabytes, which is almost 25 gigabytes. Okay, so now you have it there, 24.42 gigabyte. Okay. Oh, I haven't mentioned it earlier. Once you have downloaded the ISO, you burn it on the USB. At least 1 gigabyte, 2 gigabyte is fine, because the Arch ISO is only 700 megabyte or almost close to 800 megabyte. So you need to burn that using the Balena etcher, which is very popular now, or you can also use the Rufus. I'm not gonna show that to you now. So after this, we need to set the BIOS, or you shut down your computer, and then you need to make sure that it can boot on your system. For this, I'm just gonna shut it down because I need to boot it from the USB. Let's just wait until it's shut down. Okay. You have it, and then of course I need to set it to boot to CD-ROM. That's it. Okay, so now let me just put it to, so just here I have not experienced any of this, but this is for the rebooting to your rebooting to your BIOS, EFI shell. This is terminal. I haven't experienced any of this, but this one is only for the for this guide, by the way. This is only for UEFI. I have tried using on the MBR, but seems like there's no workaround. And by the way, this is only for this month, July to 2021. I have no idea if the developer of the Archinstall will improve more, maybe on next month or maybe 2 months, who knows. Okay, just gonna boot it to UEFI. It will take a second. Okay, so now we are booted in here. In this one, you need to make sure, by the way, that you are connected to the internet, and to test if you are connected to the internet, we can do a ping. It is sending only like a 6 packet to google.com. Let's see, as you can see, I'm connected to internet. 6 packets. Okay, let me just clear up the terminal. Now the first thing we need to do is to check. So to check the name of the disk, you can type in lsbl. Okay, but if you notice in here, it does not show the 25 gigabyte that we have make a space. So in order to do that, we need to format it or set it so that we can see it on the, or so the system can see it. For this, you need to use CFD. CFD is with a graphical utility. So there you have it here. You can see here the 25 gigabyte. Okay, first thing we need to set is to assign the EFI drive or EFI partition. And for this, I'm gonna assign only 300 megabytes. On the Archinstall guide, they recommend 260 or 270 megabytes minimum, but 300 megabytes should be fine. You can assign, of course, 1 gigabyte if you wanted to. You can assign also 500 megabyte. It's up to you, but it should not be minimum. It should be minimum 300 megabyte. So first thing is, of course, so now you have it there. By default, it's on Linux file system. We need to change the type. That it will be by pressing the right or left button. So enter, and then EFI system here. Okay, now we need to create a swap partition. If you don't want to make a swap partition, that's also fine. It's up to you, depending on the memory, some say. But for stability, I would suggest to just create a small swap partition. Okay, so for this, I'm gonna just assign a 2 gigabyte partition. Again, by default, it's on Linux file system, so I will change it to Linux swap. Okay, and then for this, we just assign everything for a Linux file system. So if you could see it here. Okay, after that, you need to make sure that you have to write. Otherwise, if you quit now, it will not create the partition like you wanted to. So you need to type in here, see here, type yes or no, or press and leave this dialog. So I'm gonna type yes, and then after that, and quit. Okay, so by typing now lsblk, you could see in here that the SDA5 is 300 is the EFI, SDA6 is the swap, and SDA7 it will be our root partition together with the home. You can also create a different partition for home if you wanted to, but for this, just for simplicity, we just make one partition for the root partition. Let me just clear. Oh, I need to see the the name of the partition. Before proceeding with the Archinstall, we need to format first the all the partition that we have created. And for this, to partition the EFI, so let's type in make file system .bfat. You can also type in that fat f32, but bfat is fine. And /dev /sta5. Okay, on this procedure you need to be really careful about formatting the drive, because you might format any other else and then you will have a problem later on. Your Windows will not boot it anymore if you have accidentally format any of this, so you need to be really careful. And now we're gonna format the SDA6 for a swap, and for this mk swap, make swap dev SDA6. Okay, now it's became a swap. Now we need to format the SDA7, and for this I'm just gonna format it to ext4, because then it's more stable. ext4 must be maybe old, but this is really stable. You can also use, of course, ptrfs or f2s. It's entirely up to you. For this video, I'm gonna just format the drive to ext4, so dev SDA7. Okay, so now once you have formatted all three that you have created, or all the partition that you have created, we can now type in Archinstall. And this Archinstall, it's you just answer any of the questions, and for this one, select one of the above keyboard languages by number or by full name. You can type in, for example, you choose a I'm not so sure. Yeah, I know this is UK, SG is Singapore, RU Russian, and so on and so on. Since I have a US keyboard, I'm just gonna use the US. You can type in US, or you can choose 26. So I choose 26. Okay, this next question will be the region. I would suggest a country which you are in, or the closest to you, because then you will get a lot of the speed or reduced latency and so on. So your downloading of the packages will be faster. Since I'm in South Korea, I will choose South Korea 43. Okay, so in here now, the next one will be select one of the above disk, either by name or by number. So I know that this dev SDA was the drive that I wanted to install. Just don't worry about it, because it will tell you that there is something in there. Just press 1. So this is now the partition that we have created, and this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. Okay, so either you type in 0 to abort, format. If you want to format the drive, then of course you don't want to format. This is a dual boot, and of course we wanted to keep the existing partition layout and select which ones to use where. That's the idea of it. Okay. Oh, so by the way, guys, never ever touch this partition SDA1, because this is where the Windows boot partition is. So if you accidentally format this one, you cannot boot it anymore. Of course, you can boot using the boot repairs on the Windows. So first we need to put a mount point on the partition 1, or partition the SDA5 for that one. The mount point, and this you need to type in boot /boot, and for the file system, leave blank for bfat. Yeah, I can just type in enter. And now I'm gonna partition the SDA7 to mount it as a our root partition. So I'm gonna choose 2. The mount point that I'm gonna assign with this will be only /. This is all including the root, home, everything will be installed in there. If you have other partition in there and you wanted to assign it as a home, you can do so, but you need to make sure that you have this / and then press and then type in home. But for this, I'm just gonna choose next, and the file system here would be, of course, ext4. Just enter. So now we have this mount point for boot and also the root partition. So leave blank when done. So it's already set. Once you're set, you just need to type OK, and you just need to press enter. Okay, so now you are on the Archinstall already. If you want to encrypt, which I don't suggest, for me I don't encrypt the my drive, because this is desktop. So if you want to put encryption, you can do so. Okay, now I don't want to put any encryption. Okay, would you like to use GRUB? Yes, for this one I would suggest to go for GRUB, because there's some adjustment that we need to adjust later, so we can still see, or we can still boot on the Windows system. Alright, so type in yes. By the way, guys, in this Arch installation, the one which is in capital, if you just leave it blank and you press enter, that will be the default answer. So you need to go through, or you need to make sure that you have typed in here the proper. So I'm gonna type yes, enter, decide host name. So I'm just, for this video, I'm just gonna use the host name to be Arch. Okay, root password. The recommendation is to leave blank, so the root will be disabled. However, I don't suggest this, because you cannot access anymore the root. In the long term you will have some issues or problems. So I will type in just a very simple password and then another. Okay, now you need to type in the username that you wanted, and for this I'm just gonna type in my nickname. By the way, I believe that it has to be small letters only, so let's just say I'll type in all capital. The username is invalid because there is a capital in there, so it should be all small letters. Okay, then of course I'm gonna type in my password one more time for verification. Okay, this is a sudo worm. If you want it no, you can do so, but I want my username to be a sudo worm. And if you want to create one more username, of course, then you can do so, but for this I'm just gonna leave it blank because I want only one username. Okay, so this option here you can choose with the desktop. This is with the desktop profile will let you select for any desktop environment or window manager profile and so on, blah blah blah. The minimal, of course, this is the minimum if you want it on the server, and yeah, and so on. Xorg, I never tried this one. we just go in for a desktop. Okay, now for this I have not the desktop environment that I have tried so far is the SFC4 made LXQT KDE GNOME Cinnamon and Budgie. I have not tried I have tried also the Enlightenment. I have tried the Deepin. This is a little bit buggy. I cannot change the resolution for some reason. It's hanging. So awesome also i3, but for this video I'm just gonna use the KDE because the KDE Plasma is my favorite. Okay, and for this one you choose which your GPU is. Let me just close the window. Okay, sorry about that. And since I'm on the virtual, so I'm just gonna choose for VMware or VirtualBox. Okay, the next one will be the audio server. On my case, I've been using all the time the Pipewire, but if you have an older system, I would recommend Pulse Audio because this is there's still some issues with the Pipewire. That's what I've heard. It's still not perfect. Pipewire is supposed to be a replacement for the Pulse Audio, but I'm just gonna install Pipewire here. Okay, the next one will be the kernel. Of course, the Linux hardened. This is more the secured, more security in here. Long-term kernel, and then the Zen kernel. So in this video I'm just gonna choose the latest Linux kernel from the Arch repository. Okay, so the next one will be the packages that we needed to install. You can additional packages because it says in here that only base devel, Linux firmware, EFI, boot manager, and so on are installed. If you have the NVIDIA, but anyway, these additional packages you can install it later on once it's already booted. But for now, I just want to add Firefox, PLC, and Vim because I need to edit this one. You need to install the Vim or the Nano because we need to edit some of the grub file later on. VLC Vim. Then I want also some music player. Audacious has been my favorite, and then I found out here that the OS Prober is not installing by default. I need to install that one, and then of course Git if you want to pull down any of the packages. Now, but for this video I'm just gonna use the Vim for now and OS Prober because this is one I needed, and later on I can show you how to install packages using the terminal. Okay, Vim OS Prober, yes. Okay, now it will check again. I have not tried any of this, but as far as my research or been reading, these two will use the systemd network what do you call that one? Network controller. So I would suggest to use this network manager, especially if you have a LAN or Wi-Fi, because this is just it's easiest of them all. Okay, for the time zone, I'm gonna put down the description to assign or to look the proper code. It's a separate website that you needed to find out if you want to set the local time zone, or you can just press enter to set it to to UTC. So I'm just gonna set my local time. It says, I know it's Asia, and since I'm in Korea, so. And would you like to use the automatic time synchronization? Yes, I would love that. Okay, now this is now no turning back here. No turning back here, because once you press the enter, it will format, it will install the Arch Linux here. And okay, so it's gonna take some time here. I'm gonna fast forward the video, and I'll come back once it's already installed, because there is some procedure that we needed to change to chroot, because we need to edit the grub file. Okay. Okay, now it's already installed. In this procedure, we wanted to chroot. We need to change we need to manipulate or change the grub. So I'm gonna choose yes. As you can see here, we are now in our Arch Linux. So whatever you change here, it will change on the actual. So, because the reason is, if we update now the grub, grub.cfg, it does not. There's a problem with the OS prober. See here, warning: OS prober will not execute it to detect of the bootable partition. So check that this one is the documentation entry is correct. So we need to add this one to our grub file, since I downloaded earlier the Vim. By the way, here, if you need now, you can just install Nano, for example. Yes, that's the Archway, or that's the installation of packages on Arch. I'm just gonna edit my default grub. Yeah. Okay. Then you need to press I for insert, because later on, then scroll down all the way bottom, and we need to add this grub disable OS prober equals false. We need to type this, otherwise the OS prober will not detect the other OSs. Let's enter, and then to exit is press escape :WQ. You can also use X, but I'm more comfortable with DWQ, because then it will save in exit. Okay, but there's one more thing that we needed to do, because if I'm gonna update now, it will still not see the Windows. Okay, because for the OS prober to detect the Windows, the boot partition of the Windows has to be mounted, and the boot partition for the Windows is the STA1. Now we need to mount this one. In order to mount this one, we need to make a directory first. So mkdir, I need to type in mount mnt, and then Windows, Then we can mount the STA one on the MNT Windows. So MNT mount tab STA one, mount it to mount Windows. Now we press, type in, enter. Now we can update again our GRUB. You can press the up key to get the previous commands that we have used. So press enter. Voila! Now you see. Now it can see, or the Windows Boot Manager is now added to our GRUB. Okay, now you can exit. Just you need to type in exit, because if you reboot now, it's running on the ch root, so you can't go wrong with that. You need to exit, and installation completed without any errors. So now I don't want to reboot now, because I need, on the BIOS earlier, or on my VM or my virtual, I set the CD-ROM to be first booted. So I need to remove first the image, the Arch image. Okay, so for this I'm gonna shut down now. Okay, I'm just gonna remove now here, click apply, CD-ROM, again delete this one. Okay, so now it's already completed. Now we can boot it to our GRUB. Alright, let me just make it bigger, or full screen. Okay, first things first is, of course, let's check if you can boot it on the Windows. Very good. This is a good sign. But I'm not gonna log in now, so I'm just gonna restart. As long as I know that it can boot. Ignore this. This is just because it's in a VM, and the actual monitor, of course, it will not show that one. So Arch, we're choosing the Arch Linux, and voila, we're now there. It installed the Plasma WLAN, but there's also an option for the X11. For this, just gonna log in, and of course now you have a perfectly working Arch, dual booted with Windows. Let me just change the resolution. Okay, now that's better. So if we check in here, system information, let's see, we got the latest one, KDE Plasma 5.22, latest kernel, and of course the WLAN, and everything is working fine. You got the audio, and everything in here is installed. Now we need to check how much is the RAM initially. Okay, so the initial one is using a 534 megabytes out of the 8 gigabyte that I assigned. It also detects here the swap. Okay, now we just need to quit by pressing F10. And to install a package on Arch, we go into console, and let's just install. It's a little bit slow because I'm on VM. So now you need to install let's just say NeoFetch. sudo sudo pacman. It's the package manager. neo fetch. Yes, and of course type in the password that I have on me, and it asks, do you want to install? Yes, I want to install. Okay, clear. Now we have a neo fetch install. There you go. It has a 596 the resolution. This is wrong. Again, if you just reboot, then it should correct by itself. And the by the way, this Archinstall installation, I have observed that it will not install a full KDE. Like for example, this I don't have a games here. What I found out that this is it's installed the meta packages only. It's not the desktop. It's only the KDE meta. And what I observed also when I installed the GNOME, it's installing the Wayland only. It's not installing the Xorg. So I hope this helps. Again, like I mentioned earlier, I would not recommend this because I don't know the impact of using the Archinstall. I would recommend only this if you wanted to try on a bare metal or into your hard drive, if you want to see the performance. I would if you want to practice, I would highly suggest you practice first from using the virtual, either VirtualBox or VMware, but VMware is paid. If you are in a Linux environment, the KVM is okay. KVM is really for me it's the better than VirtualBox. Some of the guys, they wanted, of course, the VirtualBox, but whatever you are comfortable to use with. Okay, guys. So I hope this helps you. If you think this helped you, you can hit that like button, and if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. And if you know somebody who wanted this, please share it to them, that it might help them. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day. Bye.